Hey there, YouTube. I'm Yukitsu. This is the Yukitsu Times. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to some This War of Mine. So, I wrote a blog post about it on WordPress. And for those of you who want to get a more full, in-depth review of it, I recommend you go over there and check it out. I think it's something that is sort of worthwhile. But yeah, it's something that I decided I'd talk about on my channel as well. And one of the reasons I want to talk about it a little bit more, or more in detail, is because I was probably a little bit harsher than I necessarily needed to be on my blog art review of it. And, you know, I figure I might as well talk about that here, and part of why I was so harsh on it, and possibly a little bit of things that were positive about it, because there were positive things to it, definitely. So, this is a game that actually I enjoyed quite a bit for the first little while, and you know, it might sound a little bit odd if you actually read my review because I'm really harsh on it. I'm not nice at all to it as a general thing. And part of that is because, you know, I did have really high expectations for this game coming into it. And second of all, this game does not work well once you've sort of figured out the mechanics to it. You can see how I'm doing here in this particular case. I've got a lot of food. Okay, I will never actually eat canned food because I don't need to. We've got tons of meat, we've got tons and tons of vegetables, and we're fully sustainable here. We've got our own gardens, we've got our own sources of meat, and I mean we've got lots and lots of resources. If we go into our things bucket here, we've got lots and lots of things here. The only thing I need is some more electrical stuff, and I'll be able to fully upgrade like my last thing that needs upgrading, basically. So we're set. Like, we don't need anything else per se. And that's sort of one of the big downsides of this game, is that a lot of the depth is very superficial, and that doesn't apply just to the gameplay mechanics. It also applies to the theme and to the sort of story of this game. So obviously this game is supposed to be based around just a group of survivors. They're not supposed to be necessarily, you know, doing anything too outlandish or too different or too bizarre, but they are supposed to be surviving. And I mean, that's never really been the deepest of stories or anything like that, but it can lead to some sort of very interesting scenarios and situations if that's what you're willing to play out or pan out. And, you know, a lot of cases that means tough moral decisions about whether or not you should be stealing from people, or whether or not, you know, is it right to do certain things just to survive. That's sort of the direction that this game, I think, goes in if you're new to it, and it feels like you have to make those choices. And I think that the tone and the setting and the expectation means that you'll sometimes do those things, but once you've kind of gotten better at this game, you'll often find that you never have to make those tough moral choices. You never have to kill a person who hasn't really done anything wrong. There are plenty of people who are jerks enough that you can go and kill and steal from in this game that never feels like it's necessary. So that's definitely something that I feel could have really been changed up a bit. Like, there are certain people that you will potentially kill in this game, and you'll potentially, as an individual, feel bad about it, or your people would feel bad about it. That's never happened to me personally. I feel like if it's something that makes you think it's something that you feel would be unethical or what have you, just don't do it. I never really found a situation that I thought warranted doing something crazy or unethical. See, these people are complaining about having stolen from some people. The people that they stole from were actually a group of sort of militants that were, you know, doing some questionable things. They'd actually got a person locked up in the bathroom or something like that. They were holding hostage, and I've been stealing their stuff, even though they're all dead. So, like, they didn't feel necessarily all that bad about having killed them, but now they feel sorry for having robbed them. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So, you know, the fact that these guys feel sad about that doesn't feel difficult to me. It doesn't feel like it was a hard moral choice. And the game is sort of littered with those sort of not very hard moral choices, and they sort of also make it fairly easy to see. So if we go over to our map here, it automatically switches to this at 8 o'clock. We've got the quiet house over here, and you'll see that I have not completed it at all, and I haven't visited it. So this tells you that there are people who are just trying to live a normal life there. It's got lots of food, lots of meds, and some parts. But I've also got lots of food, lots of meds, and some parts. Like, I don't need to go there to get those things. And, like, there are a lot of places that are like that. I mean, the city hospital, they've got a doctor who's helping people. They've got lots of food, lots of mental loss parts. They've also got some defenses. But I mean, like, I don't need to go there because I've got those things, and I didn't have to steal it from a doctor who's helping people. The military outpost, I mean, I don't go there because there's a bunch of guys with guns. I mean, I could trade there, but I mean, eh. Same with the church. I don't go there because I don't want to rob a church. That seems like sort of something that would be unethical. Central Square is, again, a trade place. They're all just trying to get along and have business there. The places that I have visited, if you read the text here, this was a group of... This was where a group of military snipers were standed and vantaged at, and they were sniping civilians. So I felt like it was actually a good thing to go over there and stab them, which is what I had my character do. So that place is now safe. And I've been going there over and over again, robbing it blind. So there's nothing really left there except a few scraps. If we go to the hotel here, there were armed thugs in there. There was someone, screaming in there. So I went in and I killed them, and I took all their stuff. In the supermarkets, I forget what scenario was actually in the supermarket. I think it was the army soldier attacking a woman. Again, no guilt there for having killed that particular individual. So, like, that's sort of the way this game consistently is. This place actually had some homeless people. They're still there because they don't bother you. You just go in and take the stuff. The Shelled School, I just took the stuff that was sort of surface, and I didn't have to worry about the danger there. Although, like, there's a group of rebel militiamen. Like, you can trade with them, and they're friendly enough if you're trading with them, but I wouldn't be surprised if people didn't feel any moral compulsion about killing them. So this is sort of the way the game works. There are lots and lots of places that you can go and visit where either you don't feel guilty about attacking people, or you don't have to attack people at all. Like, if I were to go to here, yeah, this was army deserters, and they were pretty dangerous. They actually had a hostage that they'd killed, so I think that you end up not feeling guilty if you kill them as well. So it's probably a bad example here. This one I actually probably could have felt a little bit more guilty about. It's just some people trying to make do and trying to defend themselves, but I did end up doing that one because I got a bit confused about what the scenario was. But yeah, I mean, I could feel a little bit bad about that, but I'm probably a sociopath or something, so I don't. But in any event, let's go ahead and prepare. So I'll show you what this is like. First of all, though, we're going to have him sleep in a bed. You're going to guard, and you're going to guard. So you always assign your people sort of to do different things. You typically want people to sleep in beds and guard. Those are the big things. Let's go ahead and go here. We need the saw, and we need some lockpicks. Might as well just take 3 because I can't remember how many doors are locked here. Now, this is the other half of the game. Like I showed you, the resource management half is basically just building stuff. It is clicking on stuff and trying to get everything done that way. I think I'm actually in the wrong building. All right. Okay, so yeah, we'll get to where we do the things that we ought to be doing, but for now, I'm just trying to see if there's actually anything here. Because I might have actually gone to a building where I've cleared it out more thoroughly than I remember. Okay, so yeah, this is what you do for most of the time. Like, this is what you do even in the early game. It is mostly click on pile of things, and you just grab whatever is in that pile. And if it's useful stuff, then you take it, and if it's not, you still take it, and then if it turns out that you find more useful stuff later, you switch them out. So that's all that really is. Alright. So you can see that I'm just bashing through doors without really caring about the noise that I make, and that's because I've already been through here and it did not say that there was any danger. So that, I think, is a big problem. I'm going through this with a lockpick though, so this is going to say that I should feel guilty because I was stealing from people, but it doesn't really matter tremendously. Alright, so that doesn't matter that much, but we'll take the gunpowder and we'll unlock this because I want to get access to this pile. So this is all that the nighttime exploration is based around. I'll show you another combat one if I get a chance to, so we'll go through another day real quick. But this is what it consists of. It is figuring out what tools you need to open everything, like all the different locked doors, all the different sawable grates or what have you. And that's pretty much it. Like, there's not a whole lot else to it. I think that that's sort of okay, but I think that it needed to be carried by something else if the mechanics weren't going to carry it, and the mechanics certainly don't in this particular game. They're okay. Like, this is a passable survival simulation. I don't have any resentment towards it in terms of that. It's just not great, and I think it wastes the theme to a certain degree. I think that that's my biggest complaint about it, is it wastes the theme, because there's so much they could have done with this. It could have been a much, much better game than it ended up being, but instead it ended up being pretty good as a survival genre game. I just wish it was more something that explored the theme and the ideas behind it. Or if it was going to be a game that was not really benefiting from those themes, at least it could be a game that really had strong mechanics behind it. But unfortunately, its mechanics are not great, and I think that that's fair for me to say here. Yeah, unfortunately for him, he's freaking out, but those people are already dead. I think I actually have to let him not... Yeah, he's depressed now, so I have to let him rest without doing anything for a little while. But that's fine. Alright, so... going back to all of our little resource management mini-games here. Oops. Oops. I should buy some water filters. One of the things I keep forgetting to do is checking to see if you can use the stove for something, which I'm pretty sure you can, and that is melting snow, because I've got a bunch of snow that I can melt into water, but I haven't done it. Alright, and let's have someone check the radio. We'll turn on some classical music in a bit. Getting warmer. Alright. There was another channel, but I forget where it is. Cigarettes and... yeah, cigarettes are back in town. There we go. So, anyway, one of the big reasons why this isn't the best in terms of just mechanical survival simulator is that it's actually really simple once you figure out the build, and there's only one really valid build path because of like what you want to be using in terms of resources. Like, you absolutely need the water right away. You absolutely need the stove right away. You'll find a little bit of food, like in your first couple of jobs or runs or whatever it is you end up doing. And you can use that with the stove to feed your initial group of survivors for quite a while. Like, you don't need to find very much food. You need to get your... what the hell do you need? You need your bed really early on, because that is absolutely 100% crucial. Oh god, lag. Okay. I think this is actually not one of the ones that requires our specialist in negotiations here, but let's get her to go over there anyway. No, we're not new here, but we've been here for quite a while. You get some of these from time to time. Yeah, I mean, I just always say yes and nothing bad has ever happened. There might be an event where something bad happens if you say yes, but I've decided I'm just going to always say yes for these, see what happens. But, I mean, he's still depressed. We'll fix that eventually, because we don't need to go out and steal stuff, in all honesty. Like I said, we've got plenty of resources. So anyway, what makes this game sort of simplified beyond what I think it necessarily should be is that once you've gotten this water filter up, once you've gotten this vegetable garden up, which is actually very expensive, and you've gotten these rat traps up, you can keep accumulating food at a higher rate than you're consuming it. So you stop having to do exploration, and you stop having to worry about resources and doing questionable things to a certain degree. Like, you seriously don't have to worry about any of the unethical things about doing them if you don't want to. And I mean, there's no reason to want to, really, except for causing drama or whatever. So I think that the fact that you become so self-sufficient so easily in this game sort of cuts out some of those tough choices. But even there, when I am going out there just to steal stuff because, like, I don't need a lot of stuff. I could just hit next day, next day, next day, and my guys would get along perfectly fine. There's no reason for me to continue taking stuff. It's just because I want to make sure that I've got lots and lots of everything for no good reason because I'm a greedy jerk. That pretty much is the only reason I'm doing anything at this point in time, because I'm almost at the game's end here, so I think that this game really would have benefited in some way from some changes somewhere. I'm not sure where necessarily, but yeah, I think that should just clarify my stance a little bit, that I don't really hate this game as much as it sort of sounded like in my review. I just am disappointed by it to a very large extent. I think that if you were to play this and you didn't think too hard about it and you just played it 1 or 2 times without trying to optimize anything, and especially not optimize it such that you don't have to make any hard decisions anymore, so that you don't have to go out and steal things, it's going to be a much more interesting game for you. I think that is a fair thing. But once you've sort of peeled back some of the depths of it, once you've figured it out, once you've sort of analyzed it, it really sort of peels away a lot of the complexity, a lot of the depth to it, a lot of the tone, and a lot of the theme. And I think that is the biggest shame to this game. So we're going to let Pavel sit on this chair here because that apparently cheers people up a little bit, and we'll send somebody else to go murdering people the next day here. So, oops, I need another filter. Let's see if I can get it done in time. I don't think I will, but it doesn't really matter all that much at this point in time. Oh yeah, it looks like I'll finish just in time. You don't actually have to finish purifying the water, you just need to finish getting the filter in, and then it'll tick over and everything should be just okay. Alright, so Pavel is depressed, so we're going to let him sleep in the bed. We're going to have him on guard, and we're going to scavenge with Bruno, who's not actually all that good at it. But let's pick somewhere that actually potentially has combat, and I'll just show you what that looks like. Now, this game has a sort of semi Iron Man mode by default, so if I get killed or something in this particular whatever it is I'm about to do, you can actually just quit the game before any chance of it switching over, and you'll actually lose the progress of that day and start that day over again. So that's one way to reset the game if you have to, if you feel like you want to, if you screwed up or something like that. Now, this place I feel like I could potentially go deal with. So what we're going to do is just run in there with knife and ballistic vest. We're not going to bother with gun. And I can't remember how this particular map was laid out, but let's go give it a quick check. Alright, so yeah. And this is one of the reasons why I don't think that this game necessarily handles the theme as well as it could, because it does actually allow you a very strong amount in combat. Like, you're actually quite good at it. So, yeah, I mean, oops. Okay, so these are actually trade people. I forgot that this is a trade group. For some reason they're of automatic sentience when you walk near them, but okay, so this is actually different than the one I thought it was, but alright. Well, let's just steal some stuff anyway. It looks like I can take some of this stuff anyway. And this is what I was saying, like, there's plenty of stuff that you can take that you don't have to feel bad about taking. Alright, so that stuff's okay. Do not approach international airdrops. Report them to the nearest militia outpost. Yeah, so they can take all the stuff. But yeah, you just sort of peer through doors, and unless it's a trade guy, like, they don't automatically know where you are behind the door, so it's very easy actually to just automatically get behind them and instant kill them using any of these sort of things. So if you use lag, if you use one of those dark cupboards or whatever, and one of those guys comes nearby, you'll automatically kill them if you pop out and stab them. This is really bad FPS here, drops. But yeah, no, that basically demonstrates everything I really want to talk about. Like, the way that this works out when there is combat is mostly sneaking around and then instant killing people. It's not all that tense, honestly. I haven't ever felt that it's particularly tense. The knife is probably one of the best things in the game as far as weapons go. And, like, you'd never really feel like gunplay is necessary or even beneficial because it's just sort of clunky the way they work. But yeah, that's the whole of the game for now. I hope you found this enjoyable. If this is something that you would want to pick up and just play a couple hours of maybe, and not really analyze it, just go through it once or twice, then it's probably a really good game for that. I think that that's sort of something that you could really get behind and enjoy. But once you've sort of peeled back the layers, once you've sort of figured it out, the fact that each of these characters is extremely generic and there's not enough flexibility in the system for any emergent gameplay, it really hurts the game sort of in that long run. So anyway, I hope you found this video enjoyable, and as always, I hope to see you all next time.